For lack of a better description, Weatherkaard is a wannabe version of Sonic SatAM Snively to Robotnik. He loves being second in command to a villain. Any kind of villain. It started with his run as a Duke of Puzzles under King. At the height of King's reign, Rules was in such a golden spot, he benefited from all of King's power and status without the responsibility to enforce his terror. While Rules greatly enjoyed his position, he's fickle. He switches sides to whomever is the winner and cheats, backstabs, and cons to give himself the most ideal outcome. Or he just forces his way in wherever he wants, and most beings find it easier to tolerate him than go to the trouble of pushing him out. Unfortunately, as much as Rules enjoys setting up and creating puzzles, he's terrible at it. Every time he dramatically unveils or monologues about one of his games or creations, it doesn't live up to the craftsmanship or expertise he thinks it does. It's amateur work, and that's being generous. Rules knows he's gained his title through favors and nepotism. Every later attempt he makes to usurp any kind of power involves shortcuts, underhanded tactics, whatever is easiest. One of his few saving graces is how much he genuinely cares about Lancer. Queen is obviously Lancer's best and most active parent. I'd be doing a great disservice if I didn't acknowledge that Rules was a silver lining for Lancer in a really tense, broken kingdom, where he's forced to stand against his dad. Rules was the start of Lancer's found family. Rules is also technically good looking, according to Clover and the Weather Duo, for what that's worth. Chapter 3 introduces the Weather Duo, El Nina and La Nino. They're Tenna's lucky in love second in commands. They set themselves as a complimentary package deal. La Nino is a dapper weatherman in a suit and epaulettes that commands the sun, moon, and heat. El Nina is a weatherwoman with pigtails and a cute umbrella-themed skirt that forecasts wind, rain, and snow. These two share a brain cell as much as hopelessly romantic flirts and banter. They have very similar personalities too. In a vacuum, La Nino is a himbo, and El Nina boasts surface-level girl power slogans. Both of them want to be acknowledged as a charismatic, show-stopping powerhouse. The two of them are the queer, cooler versions of Cosmo and Wanda. A huge part of their appeal is how well they fit and work together. The fun gang's first boss fight hits a snag when La Nino cheekily asks who has a more impressive attack pattern. Whoever the player picks between the two of them gets really arrogant and big-headed. They dominate the battle screen as they laugh and antagonize their partner more than the player. The fight ends with the couple arguing, one of the better half rushing off, and a breakup. The next time they appear on screen, both El Nina and La Nino rush about the diner minigame, crying waterfalls. In the green room, the two place deliberate space between each other. Whoever the player approaches, no matter what Chris says, both El Nina and La Nino try to convince themselves they're better as an independent entity. It's all a bluff though. The problem is that, despite how much time these two spend together, they don't know how to healthfully talk through problems. Granted, their perspective as a shallow, looks great from the outside facade syncs up with Tenna and Chris's perspective on what relationships they've seen. Asgore and Toriel divorced, Noelle's parents have a very tense, tenuous kind of relationship. Chapter 5 reveals that Azriel never worked up the nerve to confess to Des, so every romance Chris knows is a giant festering blank relying on the fairy tale fantasy TV promises. El Nina and La Nino may be a lighter touch play on how often classic sitcoms sprinkled in ball and chain jokes, or stirred up stock miscommunication plots to strike up drama. Neither El Nina or La Nino come across as mean-spirited, or that their arguments can't be smoothed over. It's more that they need a few therapy sessions on learning how to express deeper needs and thoughts with the other, versus just love declarations and trite expressions. The weather always sticks together, needs more substance to back it up. Tenna tries to amp up the charm and relies on fun distractions, both for his deal with the night and a questionable coping mechanism for his own trauma. Appearances are everything in TV world, so as long as El Nina and La Nino put on their own convincing show, that's all Tenna wants or needs. He steps in to keep the show running smoothly, not really to check on the well-being of the weather duo. His solution to reunite the lovers is still part of a grand gesture that's part of the game engineered for Chris and hyped up to entertain a prospective audience. Rules makes an odd comment in the first weather duo boss fight, asking if the duo are single. It was very deliberate wording that he refers to them as a single entity versus two separate individuals. After they break up, he swoops in and has started a relationship with whichever half of the duo is waiting at the designated spot in Tennis game. When the player brings the other weather duo partner in, Rules awkwardly pushes them together and unilaterally decides that they're a throuple now. It's so funny how Rules subverts what a stereotypical clueless couple opening their failing relationship situation looks like. The third prospective partner acts as a band-aid to repair the relationship, an escape plan for someone that wants a safe landing following a breakup, or a pawn to make the ex jealous. Most failed poly situations stem from a couple pulling in new people instead of trying to talk things out or work on their existing relationship first. It's a gross misunderstanding of how much work, honesty, and vulnerability polyamory requires and involves. Rules flips the script. He was getting used as part of a make my ex jealous plan. Instead, he takes control of the situation and tries to direct and orchestrate his dysfunctional throuple as another one of his schemes. His absurd sense of self-importance and self-assurance overshadows how empty and distressed both Elnina and Lanino are currently. They want to get back together, but they tolerate Rules under the assumption that the other genuinely likes him. Because they're still too scared to actually talk to each other, it's easier to follow Rules' instructions instead. He's confident in himself and his abilities. That's more reliable than their respective feelings of lost, hurt, and confused. Rules mistakes the importance of boundaries and communicating with a set of ground rules and weird expectations. He insists that the best way for the three of them to communicate is via convoluted cards and rules he dreamed up. It's really just, I make up the rules as we go, as a thin veneer for my way or the highway. The eventual boss fight with Rules expands on Chris and the Fun Gang getting recruited to rescue the weather duo from Rules' incompetent command. The fight itself is a visual equivalent for how frustrating a relationship with Rules would look like. He doesn't respect someone's autonomy or abilities. He'll do condescending things like lead or direct a partner with a laser pointer because he thinks that their thing is better with him as a creative director. Trying to talk or push back against him is like spinning a random roulette wheel if they're honestly trying to maintain a relationship with him. A partner is a minion, more than someone standing on even equal footing. The duo needs moral support and Lancer's insights on Lesser Dad to break up with him. Making amends with each other is far more approachable than trying to figure out Rules. When the couple does break up with Rules, he's more upset about the fact that his joining a polycule didn't automatically translate to sharing roles and power. This comes across as cheeky commentary on how even if an existing couple brings in a third partner, there's still parts, pieces, and history to the couple that will remain unique to them. A polycule can be a unit, but they're still independent moving parts that retain their identity and role outside of their relationship. Maintaining that balance is a huge part of a relationship staying healthy, which is why a lot of people may avoid that structure because of the responsibility attached. Or in the case of these three, they underestimated just how difficult and involved this kind of relationship structure is. What's really fun to me are the lingering implications that the weather duo still have feelings for Rules. There is chemistry here. Rules bungled it by looking at their potential relationship as a power grab instead of a budding romance. And a few dialogue lines hint that Rules is learning about the importance of consent and that, if given another opportunity, he'd be a more considerate partner. The few gestures he makes are attempts at little flirts and building intimacy. If Elnina and Lanino have a moment where they're smarter and more aware than comedic writing lets them be, they might have a genuinely sweet and meaningful reunion with Rules. The fact that there's an alternate end where La Nino and El Nina start something with Star Walker show that they are open to and interested in a third partner. Deltarune may not feature a deep, important conversation about consent and boundaries for these three on screen. If Weatherkaard does play out, their reveal scene will have the successful penultimate things needed for polyamory to work baked in. Given how hellacious the modern dating scene looks, and damn, I'm not looking forward to finding out just how much as someone freshly single, I'd love more positive depictions of throuples in media. Or just healthy, positive depictions of couples in general, really. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. As long as they're not rules card. No rules, I'm not interested in your seminar on how to pick up villain couples. And I'd rather not advertise your services in my outro. Anyway, I'd like to give a shout out to Starberry and Apricity on Patreon. Thanks for your continued support. If you want a shout out and you already donate on my Patreon or Ko-fi, or start today, let me know your preferred name and you'll be included in the next roundup. I also have video topic requests on Ko-fi, art commissions open, and original art for sale on eBay. All will be listed in the links below. No rules, I'm not interested in going out with you either.